I watched him. The once gentle man now transformed into a furious monster. 39 Chain of Love. Cedric POV, what are you doing? Savannah wonders, leaning against the wall as she observes me with her head cocked. Staring at her across the room, shoving his shirt into my backpack and scowling at her. I didn't invite her here. She came into my house without permission. She knows how much I hate that. I'm leaving, I announced simply, grabbing more clothes and throwing them in as well. I impatiently rip open another drawer, searching for socks. My beta clears her throat behind me. I barely glance at her. Her expression is hidden, steeled, but a certain uncertainty lurks there. This wouldn't have to do with the conversation we had a few days ago, would it? And I give a short shake of my head. She purses her lips, waiting on an explanation. Listen, screw the red alpha. 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐸𝐴gent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I've had enough of this. It's bullshit. I need my mate. I can't take this anymore. She needs me. I've been gone long enough. I have to take me with her. Take care of her. I run a hand through my hair, shaking my head. I'm so incredibly stupid for letting it go on this long. Savannah is silent as I continue to rush around until my bag is sufficiently stuffed. You're going to get her right now? She wants to know. Eyebrows raised yes. I give a short nod, and anxiety sparks. I don't know why I haven't gone sooner. The stress of the pack, the idea that Hendrix is in danger. It's all just a distraction from what's really important. My mate, her happiness, her livelihood. I'm going to make it right. Even if she hates me. I've tried calling her every night since I left. She never answers. She still has me blocked. So I did what any sane person would do. I handwrote her letters. Love letters. Promises. Anything to tell her I care. I've sent a few, and I never got a response. Even if the red alpha is still out there, our pack can hold her off. I'm sure that we just need to make a game plan. I explain. End Savannah odds. I don't care what you or the guard says about how safe it is. I know they don't want me to risk being seen. Screw them. Savannah's plan to leave Hendrix, and taking her friends with us. It played on my emotions. It played on my biggest fear. My one weakness. Hendrix. And her ever-present mortality. It made me irrational. No. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in months. I'm almost giddy at the idea of even smelling her again. The thoughts I have about her drag me out of my funk. Everything will be all right, as long as I can have her safe in my pack. It won't matter if she forgives me. When I know she's happy and safe, I can relax. I move on to the bathroom, grabbing my toothbrush and toothpaste, then deodorant and shampoo. Savannah follows me. Her butter-colored irises follow my every move with keen interest. How long are you planning on spending over there? Isn't it supposed to be a simple extraction? Just grab the human and come back. She muses, and I shake my head. She's sensitive, Savannah, and has issues with being abandoned. I'm not sure how long it will take to get her to put her trust in me again, or if she ever will. It could take a while to convince her to come home with me. I laugh when I think of Hendrix's chattering teeth. Not to mention, she hates the cold. Savannah nods, folding her arms over her chest. A question suddenly pops into my head. When's the last time you heard from that CPO agent who's keeping an eye on her? I asked you to get frequent updates. I straightened, hungry for answers. As soon as Hendrix's father disappeared, I did some more work to make sure she was okay. I knew I couldn't trust the guy. I doubled the amount of time Stacy and Miranda called, and I told Savannah that the agent assigned to Hendrix needs to be more thorough. He even sent pictures. Her father must have been lying. She's perfectly fine. I was a fool to put any stock into what he had to say. Good. He reports that she's doing well, and that she's happy. There's that word again. Every report is the same. He always makes it sound like she's so happy, almost as if she's better off without me. Is that really the way it is? Is she just as happy without me in her life? Then why do I feel like him falling apart? Take care of the pack. They'll go alone. I'm much less likely to be seen that way. I try to head down the hall and the stairs, going for the door, but Savannah calls after me. Wait. She's running down the stairs behind me, taking them two at a time. 1 foot already out the door, beyond infuriated at her interruption. What? What the hell could it possibly be? I'm so close to being with her. I can taste it. I don't want to waste another damn second. So what is so important that I have to wait? I demand, my voice getting louder and louder. She stops, taking a breath. The guard called. The red alpha. Chest. Savannah reveals tentatively, and my eyes widen. So it finally happened, and the world's a much safer place without her in it. I turn to leave, again, but a hand holds tight to my shoulder, and they want to talk to you on the phone. They have information on Ezra's parent and stuff. I think you should take it, and tell him, you know what it would mean to him. He wants to know about his family. At least do that first, and then we can leave tonight. Take Ezra too. He'll get everything ready for our trip. She offers, and I'm amazed at the compassion in her voice. Who are you? And what have you done with Savannah? I wonder in fake amazement. She furrows her eyebrows at me. 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐼 𝐂𝐤𝐳 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She demands. I just thought you hated Ezra. She shrugs. Let's just say the turp is growing on me. Now shut up, and get your ass out the door. We have a road trip to get to. There's a little human waiting on you. I don't think I've ever been as excited as I am right at this moment. I'm coming for you. Hendrix. Hendrix POV. I plop down onto the couch, holding in my excitement when the show starts. Jamison bought me a TV. I still can't believe it. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 way too generous to me. He even lets me use his Hulu account too, which 𝐊𝐢𝐳 come to regret, because all I want to do is watch Seinfeld, which he hates. He rolls his eyes and groans when it comes on. Not this again. Jamison complains, stretching his arms over his head, and then dipping a hand in the bowl of popcorn. Are there any other shows that you like? I laugh, shoving him in the shoulder playfully. Yeah, but this is what I want to watch. My daddy and I used to watch it all the time. I haven't seen it in forever. I don't feel as weird talking about my daddy anymore. Not after Cedric. It's made me realize I have to face my problems. I can't simply avoid them, or ignore that they exist. That's counterproductive. Of course I'm still sad when I remember Daddy, or Cedric, even Miranda and Stacy, but I'm not as frantic. I know how strong I am now. It's shown me what I can do. Against all odds, I've risen from the ashes to provide for this baby, and myself for that matter. I'm proud of how well I'm taking care of myself. Truly, without anyone. Well, maybe Jamison has helped a little bit. He brings food over. He helps me when I'm lonely, and he visits me at work when I have long shifts. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 is so attentive and sweet. I'm glad we're friends. If it weren't for him, I'd be laying in bed in my pajamas all alone instead of hanging out and wearing actual clothes. Even though real clothes are getting harder and harder to wear, a lot of my old things don't fit. I've been living in sweatpants at home. If you can call this a home. It's still pretty dingy, but I've done what I can with the small space. I can't afford fancy decorations, but I've scrounged up what I can to make it feel cozy. As the show draws on, I notice that Jamison keeps on 𝐶𝐸 closer and closer, sliding his butt down the cushions until 𝐊𝐢𝐳 is right next to me. I clear my throat, trying to send signals, but he doesn't stop. I lean away, shuffling until my hip hits the armrest. Jamison saddles right up next to me. He casually moves an arm over my shoulder. I stiffen. When Cedric would touch me, it always felt right. When Jamison does it, I get the exact opposite. This is distinctly wrong. I have to get away. Even little half, Pint does a small, worried kick. The baby senses my distress. I hop off of the couch. Well, as much as a huge pregnant lady can hop. Turning to face the couch with an anxious frown. Jamison is quick to grab the remote and pause the show. He glances at me cautiously as if I might run away. What is it? He wonders innocently. I bite my lip. I'm not super comfortable with confrontation, but this is something I have to say. I just want to be friends. Jamison. That's it. I'm sorry if you thought it was more, but I'm going through a lot right now. I don't have time for a relationship, and I'm definitely not emotionally ready. And he raises his blonde eyebrows at me, looking at the TV, and then back at me. You still love him, don't you? He guesses. It catches me off guard, and my mouth drops open. What? No, I insist. But it doesn't feel like him being honest. Do I still love Cedric? He gone. He left me. How could I love someone like that? I think you're lying to yourself. Hendrix. Jamison says, shaking his head as he leans back. If you just want to be friends, I'm fine with that. Now let's finish your stupid show. My eyes wide, and despite his compassionate tone. Are you sure? And he nods, holding out a hand. I reluctantly climb back onto the couch, and Jamison keeps a respectable distance from me, which I appreciate. He stays until late into the night, and I think I might have converted him to Seinfeld. He laughs and carries on. No more complaints to be heard. When He gone, I sit in the silent apartment, in trying my best to dissect my mind and emotions. Looking at the wall across from me, I think hard. I'm not in love with Cedric. I'm over him. Right. Ugh, I just wish that I could convince myself. Feeling a bit overwhelmed. I walk over to the record player, sighing as I skim through the pile of albums with picky fingers. I eventually decide on a Kenny Loggins record, and waste no time in putting it on the turntable. Soft melodies hum around me, and I cradle my heavy stomach as I near the window, staring out over the street covered in dim light from the lampposts. I think about Cedric, and how I'm carrying his baby and providing for them on my own. He doesn't even know. Maybe I should tell him. I stop that thought in its tracks. No way do I want to see him. Not for a long time. Pregnancy hormones are enough without him. I don't need him. I'm strong. I'm independent. I'm better on my own. But if that's true, then why do I feel this lonely ache that makes it hard to breathe? I think back to when he held me, how we slow danced in the kitchen. I felt so happy then. So safe. So secure. I don't have that anymore. I can't replicate that feeling no matter what. I've never felt anything even remotely similar to it. I run a hand through my hair, thinking of my baby and smiling grimly. I may not be able to provide an extravagant life for my little one, but I love them with all my heart. I rub my belly over my sweatshirt, leaning against the windowsill for support. It's just you and me. Half pint. It is against the world. For to keep you safe, Cedric POV. I stare up at the graffiti-stained brick building with something akin to horror. The stench alone made me insist Savannah recheck the address to make certain I'm in the right place. Suffice it to say, it's somehow the correct address. My body is frozen in disbelief. I can't even begin to imagine how Hendrix had ended up in an apartment building such as this one, on the outskirts of town, hidden in the shadows like a bad dream. It reeks of alcohol and drugs. The sounds of drunken laughter fills the wretched air. Cracked pavement that's littered with cigarettes and beer cans. Barking dogs and overgrown, brown grass. The area is dangerous and filthy, and my little human mate is living here, by herself. The idea of her being in this place seems wrong on every level. Hendrix is all skirts, grins and laughter. I try to picture it in my mind, her standing outside this apartment complex, and fail. It doesn't seem right. Where I park, I survey the parking lot for her new car to see if she's home. If you can even call this place a home. I demanded that Savannah and Ezra stay in the car while I go up to her apartment. This is a private moment. and I don't honestly know how it's going to go down. I don't actually like the idea of breaking into her apartment while she's not here. But maybe it's best if I don't get the door slammed in my face when she opens it to find me standing on her welcome mat. So I head into the building after a few minutes of uneasy hesitation. There's no locked door to enter the place, which drives my anger up the wall, but I push it away and slowly make my way up the stairs. I take my sweet time perusing the hallway for Hendrix's apartment number. The sound of a big dog barking through the peeling wall grates on my dwindling nerves. This place is not safe. Any idiot could get in and do whatever they damn well please. That doesn't sit well with me. As soon as I reach the golden number 23, I lean against the door frame and deeply inhale. The scent of my mate fills my whole body with ease. It's as if the building's strain of being separated from her disintegrates at the faint whiff of her irresistible fragrance. I've waited months to be with her. I can't wait any longer. I stay here for a while, bathing in the reality that I'll see Hendrix tonight after so many painful days and nights of missing her. This is real. This is actually happening. The day is here. Excitement sizzles you my spine. And I'm reminded of the first time I met my mate. Every time I saw her was an explosion of new emotion, something I never experienced. I finally kneel down and make short work of the feeble little lock screwed into the tan door. I angle two pins into the keyhole, positioning them until I hear the precious sound of a click. I silently thank Savannah and her hairpins. As soon as I stand, I twist the handle and push it inward. The smell of Hendrix intensifies, but something about it seems different, sweeter, more pungent, more alluring. Maybe it's just the time spent away that's making her scent so much more appealing to me. Dismissing the slight change to her smell, I survey the living room with interest. The furniture is plain and drab. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nelben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm, and probably second-hand. Somehow, Hendrix made it look homey with rugs and blankets and candles. Something doesn't feel right when I close the door behind me, the sound of it echoing through the small adjoining hallway. There's a smell that annoys me. I realize in a split second that it's testosterone, and definitely canine, fried chicken and okra. The smell is male. The voice is male. There's a male in my mate's apartment. I don't think. I don't rationalize. I just act. My boots stomp loudly as I pound down the hallway towards the offending stranger. My jaw is clenched, my nostrils flaring as the terrible scent forces itself on me. I'm greeted with a small, dingy kitchen. The aroma of southern fills the air, along with the stench of a werewolf. A werewolf who's currently staring at me in absolute terror, his eyes the size of dinner plates. 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐠 backing away slowly. He knows the danger I pose by just standing here. Half a second goes by before I have his shirt collar in my hands, lifting him above the tile floor so that 𝐊𝐢𝐳 eye level with me. His back creaks against the wooden wall behind him, and he trembles in my hold. I can't help but think about how pathetic he is. Who are you? Still hating the idea of a male other than myself in Hendrix's home. I hate him just for being here. He has no business being around Hendrix. Deep down I know that of course she has the right to make her own choices, or to move on after I left. She can allow him into her life, and I should be okay with that. But deep down I'm not. I will never be okay with that. 𝐸𝐴𝐷 I'm the only male she needs. CPO, I work for the CPO. He wails, squirming like 𝐊𝐢𝐳 got a noose around his neck. Unmatched fear stains his flushed face. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 panicked. What the hell is a CPO agent doing in my mate's apartment? And then it clicks. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 the one sent to watch over her. But why is he this close to her? Why is he cooking for her? Why is he in her house? I growl, but I don't drop him. I despise the fact that the little wolf has some sort of immunity against me. If I place a single hand on a CPO agent, I could be in deep shit. No one can touch me, sure, but it's not me I'm worried about. Any drama can circle back to Hendrix. I won't put her in harm's way. Why are you here? I demand slowly, trying to calm myself down and take the bite out of my words. It works partially. He adjusts his neck and shifts his red-rimmed eyes my way wary. That's classified. In with the guard. The life flies from my mouth, and I watch the agent visibly pale. What are you doing here? Sounding dejected, his distraught features pinched tight. That's classified. I throw his words back at him, pushing him harder into the wall in hopes to squeeze more terror out of him. But now that I'm here, there's no need for you anymore. Maybe if I bluff, he'll reveal exactly why 𝐻ES in here in the first place. The blonde wolf clenches his jaw, and I hear his heartbeat pick up in his chest. 𝐻ES panicking. I was deployed nearly 2 months ago. I've gained the trust of the human already. Why would they send you? Gain her trust? What the hell is going on here? A prickle of unease goes through my system. Whatever this is, I already don't like it. Lots of things don't add up. We were being lied to. Hendrix clearly has been doing well. Chess living in a dump. I only hope there isn't more to learn. Before I can carry on to ask these questions, the telltale sound of the door opening interrupts. I stiffen when I hear it close, and then the noise of shoes hitting the wood floor. My mate is back, and in completely unprepared. Hendrix POV. I park my car in my usual spot, shifting a glance out the dim window to look out into the pitch-black parking lot. I parked as close as possible to the building, but I'm still scared witless of what could pop out of the shadows. It's always scary for me, walking up to my apartment at night, especially when I'm 5 months pregnant with a belly so big I already can't see my toes. I hate the fact that because I'm a woman, I naturally have to fear for my safety when the sun goes down and I'm alone. It's not fair, but I have to brave it whether I like it or not. I'm tough, and my hormones make me meaner than a wet hen. A mugger would be stupid to mess with me. It's just that my energy levels are low, and it's getting worse every day. Slipping a hand into my purse and clutching my pepper spray tightly, I climb out of my car with much effort. Pregnancy turns everything into an ordeal. After locking up my car, I waddle to the building and slowly heave my way up each and every stair. The only sounds to be heard are my feet, and the sound of my panting bouncing off the cement walls. By the time I'm to the top, I'm already hot and sweaty, and out of breath. I have gained way too much weight during these past few months. Not that being a little sturdier is a problem, but I really was used to carrying this much weight before. I put it on so quickly that I didn't have to get used to it. I think that's the reason I'm so weak. I constantly need breaks to get my energy back. After taking a quick pause for breath, I trudge to my door. The lovely smell of chicken makes me smile. Jamison is here. I love when he surprises me with a visit. 𝐻ES a good cook, and keeps me well fed. I open the door after finding him locked, and push it shut behind me, kicking off my sandals. I shake my head as I waddle towards the kitchen with a hand on top of my protruding belly. I keep telling you to stop fattening me up. If you don't stop it'll have nothing to wear. I laugh, amusement coloring every word as I turn the corner. The sight of my kitchen stops me in the doorway, and I sober up immediately. This isn't something I expected. He hasn't changed at all. Same messy black hair, scruffy jaw, and ruby red scars. His presence is large and demanding of my attention. He fills the entire room with his arrival. 𝐻ES misplaced in my dreary-looking kitchen. He represents a wonderful phase in my life, and my apartment is my foul life after him. Seeing them collide is bizarre. His cherry eyes that stare back at me seem to hold a different light. Gone is the cool and collected sheen. They seemed desperate, restless. I recognize those eyes. They mirror my own from the past 5 months. My vision blurs as my eyes focused solely on him. I sniffle once, and then twice before wiping my eyes and shaking my head. In all the time 𝐻ED been away, I must imagine this scenario a million different ways. And in none of them did I immediately start crying like a baby. I imagined myself being a boss lady and telling him off, telling him to get out and never come back. But as soon as I see him, I know I'm absolutely hopeless. I can't get word out. I'm still in love with him. How is that even possible? I should hate him, but I just want to run to him. He stands still. Ruby gaze is fixated on my gargantuan baby bump. He won't even look at my face after he notices my very pregnant body. A small crease forms between his eyebrows and one of his hands reaches out as he takes a step towards me. I take a step back, clutching my belly protectively. I know he won't hurt me. Not physically anyway. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐷. He asks gruffly, emotion clogging his words. I glare at him, tears stinging my eyes as they fall down my cheeks. What happened to boss lady Hendrix? Yes. I nod, clenching my jaw, swallowing the lump in my throat. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐷. And honestly, whose else would it be? I watch Cedric's face fill with joy and sorrow and disbelief all at once. Each new emotion is fighting for a place. He tries to come towards me again, and I back away. 𝐿𝐲's determined to get to me though, because he keeps walking towards me until impressed against the refrigerator behind me. I have nowhere to go to escape him. 𝐿𝐲's so huge and demanding. I can't get away once he has me trapped. He bends down and grabs my head between his hands, planting a kiss on my forehead before pulling me to his chest in a cradling hug. "I'm such a sack of shit," he whispers, and I can hear the tears in his voice. Is he actually crying? It makes me sob harder. All that I care about is that 𝐿𝐲's here. 𝐿𝐲's actually here. And we're both crumbling at the sight of each other. I don't know how I know, but I know he still loves me too. But I don't expect everything to go back to the way it was. It can't. So many things have changed. And just because he came back doesn't mean everything is sunshine and rainbows now. I can't just be okay with everything now that 𝐿𝐲's here. He missed more than half the pregnancy. That doesn't mean that I can't hug him though. Right. I deserve some affection. Even if I am still pissed. I think he'll be leaving now. A familiar voice says. And I quiet myself crying. When I saw Cedric, I'd completely forgotten about Jamison's existence. I didn't even know he was here until now. I try to turn my neck so I can look at him, but Cedric puts a hand to the back of my head and presses it firmly into his chest to keep me from moving. I don't resist. 𝐿𝐲's too strong. It seems we have a lot to talk about. Each syllable rumbling under my cheek. I can hear the trembling fury in his voice. All signs of tears are gone. He sounds scary. What is he talking about? And what made him so mad? I should be the one cussing him out for ditching me. He's no right to be angry. In a whirl of motion, I'm suddenly standing in the middle of the kitchen Cedric less, feeling cold and secluded with the sudden loss of his presence. Cedric now stands across the kitchen, his massive set shoulders filling out the entire doorway. Jamison cowers in front of him, hutching away and feel like a frightened animal. You're not going anywhere. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐷. I have a lot of questions, Cedric says slowly, using his overwhelming, intimidating voice to zap Jamison into submission. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐷. Confusion bubbles up inside me and a pang of fear swells in my chest. There's always secrets. I don't know everything. I'm in the dark again. I forgot how much it hurts to be lied to. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐷. Accidentally using the endearment for the first time in a long time, wiping the tears from my face with the back of my hand. What's going on? Both men look over at me. Cedric's eyes go wide as if he just now realized that I've been watching. And a slow smile grows on Jamison's face when he looks between the two of us. My new friend folds his arms over his chest in surprise's amusement. To my agent extraordinaire, 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐷. Would not want to scare your mate, would you? You can't interrogate me in front of her. She doesn't know a thing. He taunts and my heart skips a beat. What the heck is a mate? It seems like the list of things I don't know gets longer and longer with every passing second. Our wages in Cedric's mind. I can see the turmoil. The way his body tenses up is a big indication. His eyes dart from me to Jamison, to my belly frantically. He furrows his brows, trying to put on a mask of indifference. I can see through it in a second. No, he finally settles on. Is he serious? Interrogation. What is happening here? He turns to me and gives me a grim expression. You'll just have to trust me, he says softly, as if 𝐿𝐲𝐸 silently begging me not to fall apart. Can you do that, baby? My head snaps to Jamison when he lets out a mocking scoff, shaking his head. You actually expect her to blindly trust you? Someone that abandoned her in her time of need? Left her too? He gestures around my rundown apartment with his hands. This place. A little pregnant teenager, utterly helpless with no money and no support. You think you deserve her trust. Guilt and sorrow overtake Cedric, and my heart pangs. 𝐊𝐲𝐻 defeated. I want to comfort him, but I won't. Anyone would look at him and think he was stern and emotional, but I can sense his emotions loud and clear under that steely expression. While Jamison has a good point. What he left out was that I never told Cedric that I'm pregnant. And the way Jamison paints the picture makes me seem weak and defenseless. I may not be very physically strong, but my mental strength and capability have carried me far. I'm proud of myself. I've done it so much to support myself, to prepare for the arrival of my child, practicing to care and provide for them to the best of my ability. I pushed aside all of the mental anguish for this baby. I focused on what mattered most. Even on the days that I wanted to lay in bed and cry for days. I've worked hard and long to get where I am, especially mentally. I didn't think I had the willpower to get through being abandoned, but I did it. Jamison and degrading me fills my insides with rage, especially in front of Cedric. I want the father of my child to know exactly what I went through to get where I am. I want him to know that despite my suffering, I came out stronger than ever. Looking back to the love of my life, I swallow hard. His glowing gaze is settled gently on me, drawing me in once again to be near him, to love him, cherish him, trust him. But I can't lie. I don't trust you, I say firmly. He left me. I love the guy, but that doesn't mean I can't this whole mess 𝐿𝐲𝐻 put me through. These months have been the hardest of my life, all because of you. I want to know what's going on. I'm tired of being left in the dark. Cedric has a heartbroken wittiness to his eyes. His shoulders slump while he stares at me, and I feel my lungs burst into flames. His eyebrows are still set firmly, his mouth tight. 𝐊𝐲𝐻, still handsome. To my Hendrix calling 𝐊𝐢𝐳 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐧𝐷 enthusiasm. I missed him so much. I can't believe 𝐿𝐲𝐻 standing here in front of me once again. I promise I'll tell you everything you want to know, but we need to compromise. Are you okay with that? Every word from his mouth is gentle. It could be a lie, but I think it's worth the risk. I should be terrified of what could happen here. Nothing makes sense about the situation I walked in on. The way Cedric and Jamison talk to each other. It's bizarre. I want answers. No, I need them. So, reluctantly, I nod my head. Cedric sighs. 𝐿𝐲𝐻 relieved. I have a call to make. 41 disregard Hendrix POV. As soon as Savannah enters my kitchen, Cedric hands Jamison off to her and returns to me in an instant. I don't have time to ward him off when his arms go around me in a tight hold. I feel the tension leave him, and his labored breathing calm down, despite my reluctance to accept him. His touch calms me too. All the stress seems to float away as soon as we're together. His face goes to my neck and into my hair, taking a deep inhale and moaning slightly. 𝐊𝐲𝐻, the father of my child. But 𝐊𝐲𝐻 a weirdo sometimes. Oh, and a jerk. A stupid jerk. I let him hold me for as long as he wants. Somehow I know deep down that he needs this. As much as I want answers ASAP, I know he needs a second to collect himself. I'm mad at him. Royally pissed to be exact, but this is probably a shock to him. I never told him I was pregnant. He needs to soak it in. If there were any signs that were meant for each other, it was the fact that I'm so intimate with him to the point that I felt like a psychic sometimes. I always know what he needs. It's bizarre. His hand comes up once to touch my baby bump, running his long fingers over my shirt with amazement in his red eyes. That warm sensation flashes through me once again, and I can't say I didn't miss it. I'm so sorry. Baby, I never should have left. I always planned on coming back, when it was safer. But if it known. Closing his eyes tight, I wouldn't have left. I know that I shouldn't have. I knew at the moment I walked out your apartment door. I love you so much. If you'd known about the baby. He shakes his head. Obviously that's part of it. I want to take care of this baby. But it's mostly how hard you've it. How much you needed me here. It kills me. I've been so damn stupid. So selfish. I'm here now. And I'm not going anywhere. Tears brim in my eyes. And I'm completely for crying so much. I could have handled this better. I want to make him to know how much he hurt me. But there would always be time for that later. Because he's hushed. Emotional words make me feel the safest I've felt since he left. I love you too. But it comes out more of a strangled sob. I don't have the strength to lie. He smiles down at me, brushing away my tears and choosing me softly. It'll explain everything. You will know everything and it will all make sense. 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐸 𝐊𝐢𝐳 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷. But first, I have some things to discuss with your friend here. I bite my lip into nod, wrapping my arms around him tight one last time before he turns me around, hugging me to his chest from behind. I gladly lean back on him, trying to catch my breath as I continue to let out little sniffles. I try to make eye contact with Jamison, but he won't stop staring at the floor. I want to reassure him that everything will be okay despite Savannah's death grip on him, but I don't know how this will play out. Cedric called him an agent. I can't him either. I feel like my world is falling apart. Jamison is the only one I've had for these past few months, and now it seems like it was all a lie. It's the first time I notice another man in the room with dark amber hair. A cheese almost as huge as Cedric, tall and wide with muscles. His eyes are also similar to Cedric's. They sort of glow like headlights, but instead of red, they're a burnt yellow cut. The mystery man that stands beside Savannah critiques me from head to toe with a confused slant to his eyebrows. His mouth twitches downward while he stares at me openly. I become self-conscious and a little frightened. I turn into Cedric's chest, pulling his arms up higher on my body to protect me. I want to get far away from that guy. 𝐊𝐲 scary. She's human, the man states in a deep voice, clearly incredulous. He doesn't seem impressed. Wait a minute. Did he just say human? Yes, and she's my mate. 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐸 𝐊𝐢𝐳 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐸. You would do right by respecting her, Cedric informs him, using his authoritative voice. The man in question bows his head slightly. I try to process what's being said. Isn't that stating the obvious? Aren't we all human? What does that even mean? Reminded of how my friends used to call me their little human. Everyone ignores me. That's impossible. She can't be your mate. She's a human for God's sake. The guy. 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐸 𝐊𝐢𝐳 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐸. Went. He gestures to me with a wave of his arm like I'm something instead of a person. I try to shrink away from him. Cedric growls. I'd heard him do it before. But it's still weird. That's what I thought too. But you'll get over it. As did I. She's my Luna as well as yours. And she's carrying my pup. If you don't stop frightening her, you will regret it. Believe me. Cedric snarls. and even am shocked by the hostility he shows. I can't even see him, but I can imagine how terrifying he looks right now. Wait a minute. Did he just call my baby a pup? Pup, I start. And he presses a finger to my lips. All will be explained in time. Baby. But now is not the time to discuss it. He explains, and I huff in annoyance. When is the right time? I deserve to know what's going on, and I don't want to wait another second. Savannah shakes her head, her creamy eyes narrowing. No, it's impossible for you to get human pregnant. She shifts her glare down to Jamison, shaking him until he looks up at her with terror. She's several inches taller than him. You have lots of explaining to do. Jamison trembles, looking around at Ezra and Cedric with fear. If I didn't know any better, I would say 𝐊𝐢𝐳 their enemy. I don't really know him. Not at all. My heart sinks in my chest, and I hold my baby belly. I let him get close to me. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝𝐬 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐬 𝐂𝐿𝐷𝐐𝐝𝐬 I try not to let it sting. I can't draw any conclusions until I get all the information. I also just can't seem to get over the fact that they keep referring to me as a human as if they're not. Are they crazy? Did I get pregnant by a psychopath? I know, but we also thought it was impossible to have a human mate. Seems the moon goddess is full of surprises. Cedric murmurs, and I detect the amazement in his voice. The curiosity in me is driving me crazy. Stop talking like I'm not here. I want to know why you keep calling me human. And mate, I don't know what a Luna is, but you make it sound pretty important. I tried to tear out of Cedric's grip, but he won't let me out. Let go of me, I demand, and he finally does. I wrench myself away from him so quickly that I lose my balance as my head goes light. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 is quick to grab me by the waist before I hit the ground. My heart is pounding. I'm fine. I'm fine. This happens all the time, I assure him, and he doesn't seem to like what I say. What do you mean this happens all the time? He demands harshly. And it scares the baby. I feel a little jump before receiving a kick in the bladder. Calm down. Half pint. It's only your daddy, I say softly, rubbing my belly soothingly to try to calm the baby down. Cedric raises his eyebrows. What? I call the baby half pint because they don't have a name yet. He shakes his head, clenching his jaw. He grabs my wrist. Don't change the subject. I want to know what you meant by that. Have you been getting dizzy? Have you been eating enough? Cupping my face gently, and I glare at him, yanking my arm out of his strong grip. He lets go, despite looking pissed off. I'll tell you as soon as I get my answers. Deal. He purses his lips, eyes lit up with anger, but he does nod in agreement. I can't help but notice that he keeps glancing at my belly, and it would be great if you wouldn't get all mad at me, I demand, tears filling my eyes. I hate crying in front of people, but I can't help it. The anger in Cedric's eyes disappears, and he tries to touch me. I back away. He sighs in defeat. I'm not mad at you, baby. Enthusiasm, and the only one to blame here. I stop crying. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 is mad at himself. I guess that makes me feel a little better. It's silent for several seconds, and then Ezra clears his throat. What's the plan? 𝐿𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝𝐬 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝𝐬 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Thankfully focusing his gaze back on Cedric. As soon as the words are out of his mouth, Jamison goes as white as a ghost. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝𝐬 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝𝐬 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Who's Vela? I mumble, feeling more out of the loop than ever. My questions are piling up in heat. Oh shit, Jamison whispers, shaking even harder where he stands. Savannah holds him tighter. Cedric's hand comes down firmly on my shoulder, turning me back to look up at him. I am. My name is Cedric Vela. I can see the apology on his face. My nose crunches up in distaste. My stomach's starting to revolt. But you're Yuri. Professor Riley, I insist. And he shakes his head. The sick feeling intensifies until I think I might throw up. It was a cover, he whispers, pressing his lips together, his full lips disappearing and paling from the lack of blood flow. I look away, shifting my gaze to the scratched wood floors. Cedric was undercover as a college professor. He called Jamison agent. So what if they're all FBI? Or the CIA? My body freezes. Cedric was a cop this whole time. There are so many secrets that I don't know how they fit together. I don't even know you. I mumble. And even though I can't see him, I feel him flinch beside me. He deserves that. I want you to take Hendrix into the bedroom while I talk to him. Answer any questions she may have. Cedric explains, his voice filled with authority. I glance over to see who 𝐊𝐢 is talking to. 𝐊𝐢𝐧𝐼's mouth is parted. Panic zips through me. You wanted to know everything. Cedric nods his head, blowing out a sigh. It's about time she knows what's going on. I won't lie to my mate again. There's that mate word again. That's definitely a question on the top of my list. To my authentic 𝐊𝐢𝐳 𝐊𝐢𝐳. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Let's get this over with, Ezra says, motioning to the hallway. I take a step back, and my back hits Cedric's chest. I turn around, trying to swallow my fear. Can't you just explain everything to me? He'd much prefer that. I plead in hushed voice. Ezra coughs behind me. I throw my head around to look at him over my shoulder. How did he hear that? I have to ask your friend a couple of very important questions. It'll be fine, baby. I'll be right out here if you need me. He reasons gently, and he cups my cheek. His palm encompasses half of my face. I bite my lip, as mad as I am at Cedric. I don't know this Ezra guy, and he scares me. Cedric must sense my terror because he smiles knowingly at me. Don't worry, he would never hurt you. If he was rude, it's only because he didn't know better. I trust him. You're safe with him. Okay, I relent quietly, daring to look at Ezra. I reluctantly walk towards the large man, giving a wide berth between us. He rolls his eyes playfully, following behind me to my bedroom. All my questions fly around in my head, and I hope I can remember everything I wanted to ask. How far along are you? The question is sudden, and I really wasn't expecting it. Ezra watches me with those fascinating yellow eyes. He uses a light tone, probably trying to ease my fears. We're in my little, dinky bedroom. I maneuver myself smoothly onto my wind-eyed bed, staring at him as he closes the door. I don't want him to get too close to me. It's hard not to be intimidated by him. Now I see what others see when they're around Cedric. With Ezra it's different. I don't feel warm or safe in his presence. I just want to keep a distance. About 5 months. I reply ugly, and his eyes widen. I know I'm enormous, but apparently I'm just having a big baby. I shrug, massaging my achy thighs. Ezra sighs, and sits across from me on the quilt. I scoot back a few inches. I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I don't want to be near enough for him to touch me. He rubs at his temples, sucking in air and exhaling loudly. I know this is going to be a lot to take in, but you have the right to know everything that's going on. Causing me to shiver. How bad can it be? Right. You aren't having a big baby. Well, you might be, but that's not why you're so big. Let me guess. Jamison told you that. I nod silently. I'm a bit embarrassed because I don't really know a lot about pregnancy. Yeah, well, let's just say 𝐊𝐢𝐴 lied about a lot of things. Ezra explains. We sit there for a while in silence. That is until I remember I'm supposed to be asking the questions here. I feel like I'm at an interview. I'm all nervous and clammy. Who is Jamison really? And why is Cedric interrogating him? It's my first question because I'm actually nervous for Jamison, despite all the deceit and lies. 𝐊𝐢𝐴 helped me when no one else did. I trust Cedric not to hurt a person who's done no wrong, but I'm terrified that Jamison might not be so innocent. Ezra takes a deep breath. Jamison is a werewolf agent who works for an agency called the CPO. My lungs halt in my chest, and my heart goes double time. Werewolf. Werewolf. Ezra agrees. Like it's as simple as that. I know it sounds crazy, but humor me. I nod reluctantly. This is ridiculous. I've known my whole that werewolves aren't real, but seeing Cedric move at light speed across the kitchen earlier did freak me out a little bit. Cedric isn't a werewolf. Right. I clench my teeth. No way. I would have definitely noticed. I spent nearly every waking moment with him for 3 whole months. That wouldn't gas me. The CPO stands for the Creature Protection Organization. They deploy trained agents like Jamison to help protect supernatural creatures throughout the world. I nod automatically, trying to process the stupid lies that 𝐊𝐢𝐳 is trying to feed me. Ezra would have me believe that Jamison is some sort of werewolf agent for some mythical beast protection program. To my agent 𝐋𝐮𝐳 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐥𝐻𝐬. Did Cedric put him up to this? Is this some sort of sick joke? I open my mouth to voice the ridiculousness of it when Ezra lifts a finger. Humor me. Remember. I shut my jaw with a 𝐾𝐥𝐻𝐬 sigh. This is preposterous. I don't know why I'm even listening to this guy. If Jamison is a werewolf special agent, why is he here instead of on some mission to help a supernatural creature of some sort? He is on a mission, Ezra explains quietly, waiting for me to get it. What? Wait a second. What mission? Why is he here? Last time I checked in, no supernatural creature. Completely incredulous. All of this makes no sense. Theta left so you would be safe, but he didn't trust the human world completely. So Savannah requested a CPO agent to watch over you. Ezra says, shrugging his shoulders. What doesn't make sense is that he never told Savannah or Vela that you're pregnant, or that you were living at a dump. Trust me, if Cedric knew about the baby, if he knew you weren't happy, he would have come back in a heartbeat. I shake my head. This can't be happening. And to top it off, you're not a supernatural creature, but you're certainly carrying one. My mind blanks out, my hand instinctively covering my rounded abdomen. My baby is not a creature. Then it hits me. Cedric. What? What is Cedric? I ask so quietly I think Ezra might not have heard it. But then his lips curl a wicked grin. Let me tell you about lichens. Oh boy. Cedric, POV. As soon as my mate is safely stored away in the other room with my gamma, I completely lose it. I grab Jamison, dragging him to the living room, and I shove the useless wolf onto the couch. I growl involuntarily. I want to rip his heart out, or any other vital organ. He shudders relentlessly under my grip, his pupils wide with fear. How? I demand, heat tearing through my limbs like a wildfire, scorching under my skin. How? What? How is this possible? How is she pregnant? Gripping his arm firmly in my hand while I lean over him, my breath fans across his face. He flinches back into the cushions. Savannah is here too, but she knows better than to test me when I'm in this sort of mood. She stays silent. Everyone knows that humans can't conceive shifter children. It's not that I'm ecstatic about my mate's pregnancy, but I certainly want to figure out why I haven't known about until now, or about the possibility of such a miracle in the first place. The agent, Jamison. So help me. If you don't tell me, I will break your neck. Grabbing him by the neck and clamping my hand down so hard he begins to whimper. Pathetic. 𝐊𝐲 basically a measly human male. Easily terrified. It's because it's not public knowledge. He shouts, fear controlling every action. Public knowledge. The CPO knows about this. He nods his head frantically when I clench his throat a little harder for good measure. Why doesn't the CPO release this information? Raising my eyebrows in mock curiosity, I imagine the blood that pumps through his veins dripping onto the floor, and it only fuels my desire to injure him. He shakes his head, squeezing his eyes shut tight, shaking his frame harder. His head cracks against the drywall. "It might not kill you," I whisper, tightening my fingers around his neck until he can't breathe from the pain. "But it will hurt. One flick of the wrist is all it takes. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐾𝐜 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐾𝐜 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He coughs. I loosen up, waiting very impatiently for his reply. If everyone knew humans could produce offspring with shifters, it could be dangerous. The CPO has been covering it up forever. Before that, no one wanted to be with a human in the first place. He insists, panting, his eyes begging. Withholding the information protects hundreds or thousands of human women from being used as breeders. They are frailer than shifters, and easier to control and dominate. He takes a moment to lick his lips. When the information has gotten into the wrong hands, some shifters have been trying to create tons of offspring with the humans they kidnap, trying to make their own personal army. The werewolf takes a deep, shudder-wide breath. The CPO would never let someone have that much power. It could start a war. I let the information sink in, feeling cold slip through my lungs. They knew and they never told anyone so they could protect humans and the supernatural from war and brutality. It makes sense now, and I don't know why I hadn't seen it before. It's true that in the early days it was shameful to have relationships with humans at all, let alone have sex with one. Our kind stayed far away from mortals. So human, shifter hybrids are strong. Wouldn't the human DNA make the pup weaker than a normal shifter child? He purses his lips and I snarl when he doesn't tell me what I want. Not exactly. He rushes out. The DNA from a shifter is so potent. Any child made with a human would be one shifter. And you couldn't tell the difference, even if you tried. This news is shocking. My little Hendrix is carrying a full-blooded lycan pup in her womb. Pride and anticipation ripple through me. No wonder she's so large for such a short amount of time. Female lycans have a gestation of 4 months. I would guess she's not far off that. The knowledge doesn't satisfy me. Not in the least. Something still doesn't make any sense. Then why? Pray tell, didn't you inform us of my mate's pregnancy? You kept in great contact with Savannah, saying that Hendrix is safe, but no mention of the pup. I hiss, feeling rage that a werewolf has been hanging around in such close proximity to my pregnant mate. Listen, I could lose my job for this. 𝐶𝐸𝐬𝐬 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐬 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Just stop. I'm sure you can call my boss, Anne. He screeches while I dug my thumb into his tender jugular. Would you rather lose an ear, perhaps your nose, and maybe even a limb, in being cruel? I know, but I'm getting low on patience. 𝐶𝐸𝐬𝐬 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐬 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. They're not empty threats. 𝐶𝐸𝐬𝐬 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐬 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The CPO would be pissed to fight off one of their agents, but I'm in no place to care about that. I'm too far gone to care. Let them come. His death would be worth it. No. A tear's shaking now, tears running down his cheeks. He'll tell you. He sniffles and then continues, wiping snot from his nose with his shirt sleeve. I was sent here to watch over your human female, but as soon as I smelled that she was pregnant, I had to tell my boss. He pants, trying to catch his breath. He told me to protect her from someone who might try to harm the lycan pup. He said I can't tell anyone. When he finishes, I know HES holding something back. The little creep must have seen the rage in my eyes because he continues. Make sure the child is healthy. Shield the lycan scent she carries. HES quick to rush out. What else? There must be more. I know you're hiding something. I snarl, bearing over him with my height. I've been around way too long to be tricked like this. I'm no fool. If I tell you, you'll kill me. I know you will. He practically sobs, and I snarl, flashing my elongated canines that slide out with my fury. "I'll kill you if you don't tell me. Now say what it is that you were assigned to do. When the pup is delivered, to take it back to the CPO for care and adoption." He whispers. The fiery hot rage burns inside me, blinding me. I didn't think I could be madder than I was seconds ago. I was wrong. The CPO ordered this cowardly bastard to steal away my pup. And my mate. What of her? Revealing my fangs again for good measure. Just abandon her. Take her child and leave her to fend for herself and wonder what became of her baby. He lets out a ridiculous sob. Snap her neck. He coughs through his mucus. I am supposed to take the pup. And snap the human mother's neck. It was so easy. Good money. Please. Don't hurt me. All I see is red. My throat burns from the fierce growl that propels out. My skin begins to ignite. I know fur is bursting from my pores without looking. In transforming. I want vengeance. I want the male dead. No amount of rationalization can stop me now. He'll bleed for this. He'll die for this. It will be a sign to all that my mate's safety is not something to mess with. As my snout begins to take shape, I watch the werewolf sob, cowering pathetically. I grab for his throat again, wrapping my hand around his neck firmly while I lift him into the air. He struggles and screams. I roar in response. It rattles the lamp next to the couch. My fingers have already sprouted long claws. "Cedric, you can't do this," someone says so suddenly that I snarl. No one takes me away from my prey, and that's what he is now. My prey. 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐧𝐿 going to die. Listen to your friend. The weakling in my grasp sputters, clinging to my wrist with both of his hands. I know more about the human's pregnancy than anyone you know. I can help. An unleashed rumble of protest leaves me. Help. Help. He said he was sent to kill my mate and kidnap my pup. If that's his idea of help, I want none of it. I want him dead. My fingers tighten their hold. My skin boiling as more and more fur climbs from its surface. I will rip you limb from limb. My voice is a deep tremble. My half-shifted state changes my words with a potent venom. "Cedric." The voice demands again. My head whirls around to glare at the culprit. Ezra stands in the doorway, staring at me with a pleading look. I snarl. He had no right. Vengeance will be mine. "Savannah." Ezra demands. "Do something." My beta shrugs. Her arms folded as she watches me. Her dark eyebrows are pinched together in anger. She tilts her head. "If you ask me, the little bitch has it coming. Let Cedric kill him." I whip my face back down to my prey, ready to strike the death blow when I smell it. A 𝐾𝐥𝐤 scent so strong I freeze where I am. "Hendrix, I told you to stay put. It's too dangerous." I hear Ezra reprimand. I turn to look over my shoulder at my terrified mate. Her dark eyes are filled with fear. Is that fear directed at me? Her small, rounded body is partially hidden behind Ezra's bulk. She stares at me, reeking so strongly of terror that I feel as if I've been struck. To my authentic 𝐊𝐢𝐳 𝐊𝐢𝐳 heartfelt thanks to your unfailing 𝐊𝐢𝐳. She murmurs, slowly but surely. She makes her way past the doorway, waddling into the living room. Ezra's eyes grow wide. "No, don't go near him. 𝐼𝐸 is dangerous," he demands, grabbing for Hendrix's arm. I let out a furious snarl at the sight, and he immediately let go as if the touch burned his skin. My brave little mate continues in her pursuit. "It's all right, Cedric," she reasons softly. Her voice is pure honey. "Put Jamison down. Ensure we can work this out. I know in fighting Hendrix, what I must look like to her right now is lost on me. I'm a monster who wants the CPO agent in my hand dead, but wants my mate's happiness even more. Against my better judgment, I drop Jamison onto the couch with a loud thud like a trained dog who's being reprimanded. An audible gasp reverberates behind me, but I continue to observe Hendrix. If I look away, I might lose all reason. As soon as she's in front of me, Her hand tentatively reaches out. Her tiny, porcelain fingers grasp my half-paw. Half-hand. Her scent covers all my senses, chilling my fiery hot rage. Before I know it, my foot disappears. The knife-like yellow claws retract into my cuticles. Her fright diminishes before my eyes too, and she walks into me, winding her arms around my torso. Long, chestnut ringlets brush my arms like a whisper, and I can finally think straight. My gaze touches 𝐊𝐢𝐳, and I can sense the shock and lingering terror 𝐊𝐲𝐻 hiding. Savannah seems indifferent despite the small smile she wears. I call my mate into me. 𝐶's here. 𝐶's safe. And Jamison will never hurt her. It'll be damned if I let him even try.